So the big, beautiful bill did pass today, and I just feel a little misled. I don't know if I'm the only one, but I was under the impression there was going to be no tax on overtime, no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security.
We voted for Trump because he promised us to cut taxes on tips, Social Security, and overtime.
No tax on overtime. Promises made and promises not kept.
Not putting America first, increasing taxes to the middle class. You don't get your no tax on tips, and the no tax on overtime is so specific, you're still going to be taxed on overtime.
If our lawmakers and legislators actually represent us, then they know full well that this is not something that we want. This is not something that anybody wants or needs.
We have been fooled. This is a bait and switch. If you've been excited about not being taxed as much by the U.S. government and having more of your money, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna ruin that excitement.
We'll have no tax on tips, no tax on overtime.
That was a campaign promise of President Trump's. Now he's signing it into law as part of his so-called One Big Beautiful Bill. As this takes effect, the impact on the economy and individuals will likely be mixed. Tipped workers make up just 2.5% of the U.S. workforce, and as many as 40% of those tipped workers already don't make enough money to have to pay federal income tax on any of their earnings. Still, about 12% of hourly workers clock some overtime each year. The tax exemptions here will only apply to federal income tax, so workers would still have to pay Social Security and Medicare taxes, along with any state or local taxes. And they'd be structured as deductions. That means employers would still withhold money from paychecks for taxes, but income from tips and overtime would be deductible when workers file their tax returns. The cost of no tax on tips or overtime wouldn't be insignificant for the federal budget. The exemption for overtime would result in $124 billion in lost tax revenue compared with current policy, and the tax break on tips would reduce tax collections by $40 billion. Opponents of the policy argue that the exemptions would distribute the tax burden unfairly, with a worker who's paid an hourly wage, like a janitor, having a higher tax bill than a bartender working at the same restaurant. It could also shift the demand for tip jobs and those with overtime, creating shortages of workers in other areas.
So the big, beautiful bill did pass today, and I just feel a little misled. I don't know if I'm the only one, but I was under the impression there was going to be no tax on overtime, no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, which would be huge for the middle class, right? But after reviewing what actually did pass today, there's a cap on all of that. And you don't get this deduction until you file your taxes, okay? So your paycheck will not change. You're still going to get the same taxation, all right, throughout the year. And then when you go to file your taxes, for overtime, you get $12,500 deduction, which if you work in the overtime world, you know that's not much. That's not much at all. These guys and women kill themselves for this overtime, and they get taxed heavily. Believe me, I'm married to one. It's rough. Now, no tax on tips, $25,000 cap. I think that's pretty good. I'm not too angry about that. Social Security, $6,000, which I think is extremely low. But anyways, regardless, what are your thoughts? Did you think, I thought it was going to be on all of it. Federally, anyways. I know that state, like I live in California, I was going to get bent over regardless. But I don't know. I was definitely hoping for a little bit more tax relief for the middle class. I am not being ungrateful. I'm happy that we get any sort of help at all with this, but I feel misled. What do you think? What do you think?
No tax on overtime. Promises made and promises not kept. I work in the oil field, and I pay $40,000 a year in overtime taxes. Most of my income comes from overtime. And whenever I was made the promise that I would not have to pay taxes on the overtime anymore, I believed in it. I looked forward to it. I believed in the big, beautiful bill. And then finally, that bill goes through the Senate, goes through the House, and yesterday on 4th of July, that bill is official. It passes. And then I start looking into it, and I come to realize that out of the $40,000 that I'm paying a year, I'm only eligible to get $7,500 back not the entire 100% that I paid into. It's like having a pizza. Let's say I made a pizza and it's mine, and the government's telling me, okay, dude, you worked hard, that's your pizza. And then they decide to cut it into 5 equal slices and tell me, actually, you get to keep this one slice and we're gonna take the other 4, even though they promised that I was gonna get the whole thing. I am extremely disappointed, and promises were made, but promises were not kept.
How many of you are disappointed in the big, beautiful bullshit bill? We voted for Trump because he promised us to cut taxes on tips, Social Security, and overtime. So they write this bill, it goes through the House, then it goes to the Senate, and then the Senate just chops it all up. And they say, oh yeah, we're gonna no tax on tips up to $25,000. But you're going to pay taxes on that all through the year, and you won't get to take that off until the end of the year when you do your taxes. Oh, no tax on overtime, up to $12,500. After that, it's regular, stick it in you, extra for overtime work. And then they said no tax on Social Security. And then they bullshitted around with that too, and they said, well, we're going to give you a $6,000 deduction. Once again, screwing the American people, the American worker, the middle class. They promised the big, beautiful bill to be something great for the American public. Instead, what they do is they raise the debt ceiling. We're going to spend more money, and the middle class is going to be paying for it with our backs, because the big, beautiful bullshit bill, because in Washington, D.C., people can't get along. All those damn Democrats that vote no because they are not getting their way and are a bunch of crybaby ass sissies. And then the Republican rhinos that are, doing their fucking bullshit too. And nobody's getting a good deal out of this thing. They promised us something, and the government turned around and screwed us because they just can't get along with Trump. Everybody's a Trump hater. It's just a bunch. And JD, yeah, I know he went in there and he took one for the team and he pushed it over the top and everything, but it still sucks. The big, beautiful bill is a big bunch of beautiful bullshit. That's what happens to the American worker.
How's your vote working out? As a union worker, I'm in the find out stage. And you know what's so messed up about the find out stage? I didn't vote for this shit, but we're all in this basket together. How's that no tax on overtime? That no tax on tips? How's that working out? I'm going to tell you how it's working out in my union. No more overtime. That's right. Every time that I put in for overtime, or my other union brothers and sisters put in for overtime, we're getting denied. I actually had a union brother who actually voted for this administration tell me he can't afford his summer home now because there's no overtime. And you know me, I like to tell it how it is. So I said, well, hey bro, guess what? I told you so. And he had the audacity to say, it wasn't Trump. It's not because of him. Then what the heck is it? Because under Joe Biden, I had plenty of overtime. I had so much overtime, I had to turn back overtime. Now I got none. None. And thank you, MAGA. Thank you. Thank you for destroying this country with your vote. Because we can't even afford to live here anymore. Have a day.
I'm not MAGA, please don't scroll. I have a moral compass and a soul, and I woke up super frustrated because of all this big, beautiful bill stuff. It's like having flashbacks of that thing we went through not too long ago that cost over 1 million American lives. Just trying to tell people to protect themselves, protect their loved ones, even people that we don't necessarily agree with or even like. They sure as hell don't like us. And we watched countless family members of theirs pass away due to that horrible pandemic. And now you've got countless MAGA influencers all over the web rooting for the big, beautiful bill because Donald Trump supports it 100%. Even though the very same things that all these MAGA influencers and MAGA members of Congress railed against Biden for, not putting America first, increasing taxes to the middle class. You don't get your no tax on tips, and the no tax on overtime is so specific, you're still going to be taxed on overtime. But not only that, for your own self-serving purposes, your rural hospitals in your red states, your senior living assisted facilities, they're going to be shut down. Because in red states, they all rely on Medicaid and Medicare to function. This is going to affect everyone, red and blue states. But red states, your governors and your members of Congress and your state legislator all lie to you. Y'all do not have the state budget to finance your own healthcare programs. Your mothers, your fathers, your sons, your daughters, your nieces, your nephews, your brothers, your sisters, they all rely on one or all of the programs that this big, beautiful bill is going to cut. And the MAGA influencers out there, the Charlie Kirks, are being paid handsomely to tell you that's not true. This bill is big, but mark my words, there's absolutely nothing beautiful about it. This is not America first. And you know what? Even if you're MAGA and you can't stand me, an independent progressive, I still don't want to see bad things happen to you or your family. Because an actual patriot has concern for all Americans. Donald Trump isn't a patriot. We lost over 1 million Americans and he treated it like it was just another Tuesday. If any pro-Trump online or TV personality is telling you to support this thing, they don't care about you, MAGA. Real patriots care about you. Even though all this MAGA stuff, this hate, this police state has given us every single reason in the book not to. I have said and will continue to say, Republicans are welcome at my table anytime, even if we disagree. And there should be a shared mutual respect as Americans. Not MAGA. MAGA's a lie. And every single voice supporting this thing is being paid to lie.
We have been fooled. This is a bait and switch. If you've been excited about not being taxed as much by the U.S. government and having more of your money, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna ruin that excitement. H.R. 561, the Overtime Pay Tax Relief Act of 2025, is readable on Congress.gov. It has been introduced to the Senate, and yeah, you, me, everybody is still going to be taxed the same amount. And I know everybody's been like, well, hey, there's gonna be no tax on overtime. There's gonna be more money in my paycheck. I'm not gonna have so much deducted. Yeah, you need to come read this bill. It's on Congress.gov, H.R. 561. Because they're still going to withhold taxes. They're still going to take all that. Instead, at the end of the year, you're going to get a deduction. Now, the thing with this deduction is, if your overtime exceeds 20% of your pay, you don't get the deduction. And they've broken it down to 3 different classes. If you are married, filing jointly, and you make less than $200,000, jointly, you qualify for the deduction. If you are filing as head of household and you make less than $150,000, you get the deduction. And if you are single, filing as an individual, single, make less than $100,000, you get the deduction. Now, the problem with this is so many people, especially blue collar, you got oil field, gas, electricians, unions. Ooh, just wait till the unions find out about this. A lot of their income, more than 20% of their income per year, is overtime. This feels like a bait and switch. So let's review. We will be taxed on overtime. Instead, you'll get a deduction at the end of the year for your overtime. If your overtime exceeds 20% of your entire income, you don't get the deduction. If you're single, you got to make less than $100,000. If you are head of household, you got to make less than $150,000. And if you are married, filing jointly, you have to have a combined total of less than $200,000. Or you don't get the deduction. I don't know about you, but yeah, this just don't seem right.
So I want to make this just to make sure that people realize that.
How's it going, everybody? So today I saw this.
This massive new unfunded mandate would cost states a whopping $19 billion each year.
Okay, quick pause. If you haven't seen that video, obviously, go watch it. Come right back. But I have a question. Why? Why does it have to cost states anything? When I watched that video, it immediately reminded me of this.
Is the Maine here, the governor of Maine?
Not here.
Are you not going to comply with it?
I'm complying with state and federal laws.
We are the federal law. Well, you better do it. You better do it because you're not going to get any federal funding at all if you don't. And by the way, your population, even though it's somewhat liberal, although I did very well there, your population doesn't want men playing in women's sports. So you better comply because otherwise you're not getting any federal funding.
See you in court.
Every state, good. I'll see you in court. I look forward to that. That should be a real easy one.
Pause again, just really quick. Governor Mills, bravo. So moving on, I have another question. In the military, we are told that you should always follow your superiors. You should always do what you're told unless it is something that is illegal, immoral, or unethical. And with everything going on right now, all of this absolute insanity is definitely, obviously, illegal, immoral, and unethical. Especially if you have a conscience or are capable of and understand the concept of shame. So when I ask, why is it that the big bogus bill has to cost states anything, or why does it have to be such a detriment to the American people? What I'm asking is, why do we have to follow it at all? We do not have to allow this. Period. I don't care if it's passed the Senate. I don't care if it was approved by Congress. I don't care who it was signed by. This does not have to be the way that things are going to be. If our lawmakers and legislators actually represent us, then they know full well that this is not something that we want. This is not something that anybody wants or needs. It is, in fact, the exact opposite of those things. I saw another creator on TikTok the other day that made a video saying essentially that not everything is a distraction. Multiple things can happen at the same time. And there are a lot of things happening at the same time right now. It definitely feels like everything is happening everywhere all at once. But that's because it is. And when you hear that you might be getting distracted by this over here, that's because certain people believe that you're being distracted by the wrong things. Well, there are no right or wrong things when it comes to all of this being blasted at us on a daily basis. This is still something that is important that we should be discussing. Just like the genocide against Palestine. Just like Adriana Smith, Philando Castile, Breonna Taylor, Jonathan Joss. The list goes on and on. It is insane how long this list is. Finally, I have a message for the people that think that they are in charge. If you can look at yourself in the mirror and not be bombarded by horrific thoughts of all the crimes that you've committed against your own people, or if you can fall asleep at night peacefully without being attacked by images and nightmares of women having miscarriages in Taco Bell bathrooms and then being arrested and charged with abuse of a corpse, then I hope the level of hell that you are sent to is paved with all of the crimes that you have committed against these people of the United States. I hope that you have to relive every microaggression, every bigoted statement, every life lost, and every family member or friend who was ripped away from their loved ones, just so you know what it feels like. I will not be celebrating Independence Day this year. There is no cause for it. To all my followers, to all my people, I love you. Thank you for stopping by. Sorry it got a little weird. I don't even know if I made a coherent thought, but that's all the stuff I wanted to say today. And as usual, if you'd like to talk about it, then let's have a conversation.
They were told overtime pay would be tax-free. The crowd cheered, the headlines rolled, but now the truth's out and the MAGA voters are fuming. In this video, we showed the reactions from supporters who feel betrayed after finding out the no-tax overtime promise was either misleading or never implemented. Their anger is loud and raw, and they're demanding answers. So now, the truth is out. Those paychecks didn't magically grow, and the no tax on overtime promise, just another applause line that never made it into law. If you're one of those folks who believed it, you're not alone. The frustration is real, and the backlash is only growing louder. Whether it's misinformation or manipulation, people are done being played. Hit like if you're tired of political bait-and-switch tactics. Drop your thoughts below. Were you expecting a tax break that never came? And don't forget to subscribe and stay up to date on the policies that affect your wallet. Until next time, read the fine print, follow the money, never stop asking questions. Just a quick note, full credit goes to the original creators of these videos. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.
System via a social security tax to get benefits so that you don't have to retire into poverty. They're going to go ahead and tax that shit too, even though they told you they weren't going to tax it. Wake up, people. Donald Trump ran on a populist platform, meaning that he said he was going to do everything for the people, and immediately is doing nothing for you.